Brad Garrett. You have a flushed face, sweaty palms, racing heart, fast breathing, and slight tingling in the hands and feet. What does Dr. Joyce Brothers say they're symptoms of?
You had the shrimp appetizers at a mobile station. It sounds like an anxiety attack.
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? Yes. Where are you? Voice researchers at Wake Forest University found that most people think this celebrity has the best voice in America. Who is it?
Well, I know the loudest voice is Larry King live, everybody! Saskatchewan, hello! A little annoying. I was listening to Larry the other night, didn't even have the TV on. Kokomo, Indiana, what's the question? Osama, why the turban? You know, I think the greatest voice in the business is James Earl Jones on CNN.
Make your choice. Agree or disagree? Yes, indeed. Select a square, Circle. Wow. Snookered all of us, by the way. Brad, although 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered with water, only 1% of the water is what?
Being retained by my Aunt Selma. Because I have to tell you, I'm really just big boned. I would say 1% of the water is probably fresh water.
Will you agree or disagree? That's not it. Circle, it's your turn to... Brad, what was the only event in the very first ancient Olympics?
An ancient Greek game called Haida Slouvaki. I believe it was wrestling.
Let's have your selection. Agree or disagree? Well done. The bullet, Brad Garrett. Prevention Magazine says, chances are you'll lose 1 pound per week if you simply write this down. Write what?
I gotta say the alphabet.
Will you agree or disagree? Good choice. Pick a square, Circle. The center square is Brad Garrett. Brad Garrett. Believe it or not, Brad, a medical center north of Kansas City employs a poodle. What is the poodle's full-time job?
He's the mascot for the male nurses. No, and this is why HMOs are so bad nowadays. They actually use them for the sponge baths. Okay. I think it's what's called a therapy dog. And my friend actually has a Doberman that does this, which makes no sense. But you figure, the Doberman, they're therapy dogs. They hang out with people who are ill, and it makes them feel better.
Make your choice. Agree or disagree? Wrong choice. Circle is yours, X. Brad Garrett. Brad, why does hardly anyone ever drown in the Dead Sea?
Oh, that's because that's where David Hasselhoff retired to. And he just can't stop working. He just keeps...
Good answer.
Right. Right. I only know this because I'm a fisherman, Cyrus. For the first 4 or 5 miles, you're knee-high in the Dead Sea. It's very shallow.
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? That's the right choice. The board is Brad Garrett. Oscar Mayer has the...
Who's that?
Oscar Mayer. They have the Wienermobile.
Yes, they do.
Yes. Who has the Kissmobile?
You know, let's face it, being Gene Simmons is just sad. And release. The Kissmobile, I'm going to take a stab. Chapstick.
Let's have your selection. Agree or disagree? That's the right choice. Where are you going to play, Circle? It's yours at Brad Garrett. It can imitate a rusty hinge, the chop of an axe, the rattle of a gas tank, even a squawking hen, technically called Mimus polyglottus. What is it?
Oh, sadly, that's Rich Little. And he's at the Silver Slipper for 2 nights, baby. A synthesizer.
What do you think? Got it. Circle, select a square now. What were originally made of silk and mistakenly stuck into boiling water?
Tea bags.
Do you know the answer? Right you are. Circle, select a square now. Donna, Brad Garrett. When Victoria Principal was on an airplane once, the pilot came over the loudspeaker and reportedly said he would not land the plane until she did what?
Until she stopped shouting, "Do you realize who I am?" I read about this in Red Book.
Oh, did you now?
And this happened a few years ago. She was flying on Southwest, and the pilot was obviously enamored by Victoria. And he wanted her to go into the cockpit and say hi to the captain, the first pilot, and a guy named Ron.
Agree or disagree? Good job. Circle, select a square now. Court, if you guess correctly, you'll win a bonus $1,000. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, what is currently the most dangerous job in America?
Probably working with Siegfried. No, that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. Riding shotgun with Zsa Zsa. No, could that be? I would have to say being a police officer.
Do you agree or do you disagree? Got it. Circle, your turn to choose Brad Garrett. A new survey finds that 57% of people won't use a public restroom if they're uncomfortable with what?
You know, it's that blinking light on the toilet cam. I'm telling you, those new toilets that flush when you walk away. I'm telling you, there's a red blinking thing, and every time I use it, I know that there's someone on the other side that's very disappointed. All right, so what is it?
Survey finds that 57% of people won't use a public restroom if they're uncomfortable with what?
With the privacy, man. You need the right size stall. I'm going to say with the privacy.
What do you think? Wrong choice. Where do you want to play, Circle? Brad Garrett. Brad, what are the city fathers in Austria planning to do with horses in order to keep the streets of Vienna clean?
Well, let's just say that Vienna sausages will now come in mild, spicy, and palomino. They're gonna put diapers on the horses. So big depends.
What's your choice? You're wrong. Circle, it's your turn. Brad Garrett. Brad, what is the only thing that can cut a diamond?
Well, the only thing that can cut a diamond, I believe, is a diamond.
What do you think? You get the square. Circle, pick a square. Garrett. Frank Sinatra was originally offered the male lead in Funny Girl, but turned it down because Barbra Streisand refused to do what?
He wanted billing over Barbara, and no one gets billing over Barbara, so she said no.
What's your choice? Nope, wrong. Circle, pick your square. If you guess correctly, you'll win a bonus $1,000. Many people living in Mexico fear something called Popocatépetl. What is Popocatépetl?
Oh, that's the Mexican carrot top. Wow, you want to board up the windows. Actually, I think that is, and the only reason why I know Spanish is it's because I live in L.A. But that is an earthquake in Spanish.
Agree or disagree? Got it. The board is yours, sir. Brad Garrett. In the 80s, Brad, they taught us to walk like an Egyptian, and recently this all-girl band walked back into our lives with their reunion tour. Who are they?
That would be Diana Ross and her 3 personalities. I believe that would be the Bangles.
How do you feel about that answer? Good choice. Where do you want? Minneapolis and St. Paul are the Twin Cities. What are Rock Island, Illinois, Moline, Illinois, Davenport, Iowa, and Bettendorf, Iowa?
We refer to those as Jew-free zones. They're the quadruple cities. The quad cities. Maybe the quad cities.
What do you say? Agree or disagree? That's not it. Which square do you want, Circle? Emily. Brad Garrett. Brad, true or false, most of the fortunes you find in fortune cookies are taken from ancient proverbs.
There's fortunes in there? I thought there was the Chewy Center. I'm going to say false.
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? You get the square. Which square do you want, Circle? Brad, imagine this now. When you become a nun,
yes,
you take 3 vows. Poverty and chastity are 2. What's the third?
Charity, maybe.
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? That's not it. Circle, your turn. Brad Garrett. Hey, Brad, you have the words oil up and frosty fun on your sash. Who are you?
I'll tell you why I know this. Don't get angry at me. But my Aunt Selma was a troop leader in the Girl Scouts. And before cookies, they used to sell ice cream. Hence Frosty Fun. The oil up, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Girl Scouts.
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? You're incorrect. Circle, pick your square. What creature goes through a period of its life where it gains 10 pounds an hour?
The newlywed. I'm going to go with the whale.
What do you think? You're incorrect. Circle's turn now. Brad Garrett. Oh, Brad.
I'm channeling, yes.
On what action-filled classic TV show would you hear the famous phrase, "Book 'em, Dano"?
Hawaii Five-0.
Agree or disagree? You're incorrect. Which square do you want, Circle? At official public engagements, if Queen Elizabeth decides she wants to stay a bit longer, she lets her staff know by signaling with her what?
Does she have a scepter? Does she walk around with the thing like when she... Is it like more clam dip? Is that what that would be? Maybe, she... Okay, you know what she does? I saw this in the Sting. She scratches her crown.
How do you feel about that answer? Your turn, Circle. Where will Sid? True or false? If you're traveling outside the country with your baby, she doesn't need a passport.
Okay, first of all, she's my niece. Okay? Well, I have traveled with my infants before, and it's okay as long as you declare them as fruit. You do have to have a passport for babies.
Are they bluffing, or do you agree? You don't get the square. Circle, pick your square. All right, Brad. Most former presidents have libraries or museums dedicated in honor of their major accomplishments, but only one vice president has ever been given such an honor. Who is that?
You know what's interesting about this? I read that Bill Clinton, they're not going to be dedicating a library, but actually a memorial petting zoo. Did you hear this? I'll be there to cut the ribbon, Skipper. I think it was George Bush Sr. when he was vice president.
How do you feel about that answer? No. Circle Garrett. Thomas Edison was an avid daydreamer. Which of his famous inventions came to him in a dream?
I think that was the clapper, actually, and actually it was the light bulb.
Let's have your selection. Agree or disagree. That's your square. So you're out fishing on the high seas and you catch a tasty creature that has no nose and has teeth in its stomach. What have you caught?
It's very, very sad. It was my Uncle Morty who fell off a dock in Boca. Broke his nose, swallowed the false teeth, and we haven't seen him since. It's sad. The last they saw were his ears. God love him. Because Morty was a boxer.
Teeth in its stomach. God, I want to say Michael Jackson, but that's not it would have to be some type of shellfish. I'm gonna because no nose is a shellfish. I'm gonna go with a lobster.
What do you think? Oh, sorry, you're wrong. Circle, your turn to choose a square. Brad, China cuts down 25 million trees a year to make what?
Room for more Chinese, I would think. Boy, they are abundant. Chopsticks.
What's your choice? That's your square. The board is yours. Brad, can a fish cough?
Only during a physical. It's funny, a lot of people don't know this, Tom, but I raise Portuguese spongefish.
Really?
And fish cough.
Let's have your selection. Agree or disagree. Well done. So, Brad, our buddy Dr. Joyce Brothers says if you tell your spouse about an affair, what's the one thing you should never say?
You don't want to say something as only a bonehead guy would say, like, but I don't love her.
Will you agree or disagree? That's not it. Circle. True or false, there was once a Jewish pope.
So tired of being Jewish.
It takes a lot out of it.
I just can't imagine there would be a Jewish pope. Yeah, so I'm going to say that's false.
How do you feel about that answer? Oh, sorry, you're wrong. Circle. There's a new drug that promises to make you thinner, tanner, and sexier. It's nicknamed the what drug?
Trophy wife in a drum. I will call it the Malibu pill.
Will you agree or disagree? Yes, indeed. Pick a square, Circle. Brad, when taking down the American flag, it should always be folded into a triangle to honor American Revolutionary War soldiers. What does the triangle represent?
It just represents that Americans are very bad at origami. It's supposed to be a swan. We're supposed to make it into a swan. I'm going to go with the three branches of government.
Let's have your selection. Agree or disagree? Wrong. Circle Garrett. Brad, when it comes to the kinds of food we eat, who consumes more calories in a day, the average person in China or the average American?
You know, the obvious you would think American, you know, but I'm going to say the Chinese.
How do you feel about that answer? Wrong choice. Circle, pick your Brad Garrett. Brad, this structure was scheduled to be torn down in the 1830s so the marble facade could be sold at a European auction. It was barely saved at the last minute. What was it?
That, I believe, is the Taj Mahal.
Agree or disagree? No. Circle, pick your square. According to the proverb, what dish is best served cold?
Served cold, proverb, sarcasm.
How do you want to weigh in on this? Got it. Circle's turn now. Brad Garrett.
You know, Tom, I'd like to stay and answer your question, but I have to get this shirt back to the brawny paper towel guy. So whatever. See, when you shop at the Forgotten Woman, you can't be picky. All right, go ahead.
According to a British study, Brad, what's the most unusual position to sleep in?
Just to the left of Liza Minnelli. This is about sleeping in a hammock with a guy named Ronnie? What's the question?
No. Most unusual position to sleep in according to a British study.
I would probably say the fetal position. But of course, you know, I missed a lot as an infant. My mother used to feed me with a slingshot from another room. There wasn't the fetal position.
Agree or disagree? Circle, Garrett. All right, Brad, if Larry King's ever in South America, he might not want to get stuck in Chile. It's the only country in the Western Hemisphere where this is illegal. Where what's illegal?
Screaming, Tuscaloosa, you're on the air! Question for Scott Baio, who's starring in Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. Turn down your TV, unplug your electric blanket, throw us something over the canary. Well, if it's a Larry King and it's something illegal, we're running out of time! It would be divorce. Divorce.
How do you want to weigh in on this? You lose that square. Which? What officially ended on April 30th, 1975 at 10:24 a.m.?
I think that's Nixon's presidency,
okay.
I think.
What do you think? Nope, wrong. Your turn, Circle. Where will you wear it? You're a pet owner and you're on vacation. If you're like most people, will you call your pet?
You know, it's funny. My iguana prefers email. I think people, I know Kathy Griffin, who is crazy about her dogs, and I am too. And when I was on the road running from the law, I would pick up the phone and talk to my dogs.
Do you agree or do you disagree? Oops, no good. Circle. Brad, the ancient Jews believed that this was the highest level of the hereafter and was where only God and the most exalted angels reside. What was it called?
I believe that was called Seventh Heaven.
What's your choice? Yes, indeed. Circle, it's your turn to play. Hollywood created a cult classic, Brad, in the 70s with a movie about killer vegetables. What were they?
I read for that. I said, you're more of a celery guy. They're going another way, is what they really said.
Yeah.
And they did. They were killer tomatoes.
Agree or disagree? That's your square. Circle.
Oh.
Brad, there is some lipstick on your collar that you don't want the Viking to see. The Queen of Clean says you can remove the stain with this household product. What?
I'd use scissors. And just continue across your neck.
Yeah, right.
Actually, a little vinegar is supposed to take care of the lipstick.
Are they bluffing or do you agree? Got it. Circle. A national survey, Brad, asked men to name odd things that make women attractive. The most popular answers were a ponytail poked through the back of a baseball hat and what?
Moles. Maybe moles. Moles are kind of...
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? Well done. Circle, your turn to choose it. Given their choice of superpowers, Brad, did more men choose super strength or invisibility?
I will say they probably opted for super strength.
What do you think? No. Which square, Circle? Brad Garrett. In the 1977 film Star Wars, the very first character to speak is C-3PO. What does he say?
Are those our soldiers?
Do you think that's a bluff? Agree or disagree? That's the right choice. Where are you going? Brad, true or false, scientists have developed a way to recreate the sense of someone touching you over the internet.
Oh, that's sick. When I'm on the internet, I can touch myself. Thank you very much. I'm sure they can. I'm going to say it's true.
How do you want to weigh in on this? You lose that square. Which square do you want, sir? Brad Garrett. Brad, it wasn't until 1687 that someone came up with the bright idea of putting two hands on these things instead of just the one they'd been using. On what?
Oh, I think they've been using two hands way before 1687. I'm going to say a clock.
Do you agree or disagree with the answer? Pick a square, Circle. New research shows that people with big, wide heads, Mr. Garrett, tend to be what?
Tend to be on their way to the doctor, usually. You got a big, wide head, get it lanced. That's all I can tell you. They're supposed to be more intelligent, you know, bigger brain.
Give us your verdict. That's your square. Pick a square, Circle.